Thursday Thoughts here on SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks as always for dropping by, as you always do. Hour number one, we'll get you into Leagues Cup. We'll get you into the things. We'll get you into all the stuff that we traditionally talk about. We got Atlanta United to get into. We have all the other activity to get into when it comes to Leagues Cup from yesterday and all of the news this morning, everything to get you squared away. We do have transfers and things, and we'll go through all of that. Hang on just a second. So day after everything, and let's see. So what else am I missing here? Oh, yeah, I got to tell. Not that things change, but I just have to make sure that the Power Hour in hour number 2 is what the Power Hour in hour number 2 is. Nino and Nico dropping by. We do have to ask, considering the news or the reports that Nico brought in last week in regional television in Washington about Pedro de la Vega. I think that's where our conversation with Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports will start in at 10:30. Obviously, with Nino, we're going to tour the planet and find out what's on his mind, where transfers are, and what are we up to this morning. And we'll see what Nino Damas has to do, and hour number 2 is the same. But obviously, we have to start with Nino and Nico. Nico at 10:30. We'll talk about Pedro de la Vega. We'll get into Leagues Cup. We'll get into Major League Soccer. Get into all the things. See if there's anything else that is on Nico's mind. 10 o'clock, we'll tour the planet and catch up with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV, find out what's on his mind, and see where we need to be when it comes to focusing on everything going on around the planet, whether it is aperturas or intermedios or transfers and things like that. So we've got all the transfer news across the planet. We'll get into that with Nino Torres from GOLTV at 10 o'clock. Hour number 1 specifically, it'll be in getting into all the other transfer news that's going on to set the table, all the other AM news that's around, and we do have some stuff having to do with franchises that we're keeping an eye on, and everything Leagues Cup that comes in from hour number 1 from yesterday with Atlanta United, and everybody else in Leagues Cup and how it went. Went well for some and not for others. And so we'll set the table and get you ready with juice boxes and everything there, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Hi. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't show me again. Remind me later. There we go. It's like, I'm trying to figure out basically my path here this morning. And every time you click on something, it doesn't want to behave. So it's like, no, I hit this. No, I hit this. No, I hit this. But I'm going to hit this. That's your QR code from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You start your day there. You hit that QR code. It takes you into Kickoff Coffee. And when you leave, it is with everything at Kickoff Coffee. You buy out the store. That's what we want. We want you to buy out the store, but you do so with the code Soccer Down Here 15. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it in the youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And I am not Madison Cruz. I guess Maddie was taping an interview incredibly early this morning. So let's change that and put me as me and not as Maddie. So there we go. I don't know how many of you wear watches. I don't know how many of you wear watches. And it is something that I am trying to get readjusted to, because the boss, as a part of our gifting and things, what she did for me was made a point to get me, since I don't have an app, since I don't have an iPhone, I'm one of those Android dudes, and so the boss got me the Android equivalent of an Apple Watch. So I mean, you see it here, and yeah, and I wear my watch a little differently than other folks because it's I'm not one to sit there and turn my wrist this way. I turn my wrist this way because of you're reading papers and things like that. And so traditionally, if I'm reading a script, my hands are open, my palms are up toward me instead of down, and and typing and everything. So when I flip my wrist, I'm not looking at things this way. I'm looking at things this way. So my problem is trying to make sure that I can accurately fasten the thing. And I'm still trying, and don't get me wrong, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be trying to figure out how to work this thing. Because, I mean, you hit it once, but I will say this. It's better than the Fitbit that I had, because the Fitbit that I had, in some ways, the Fitbit that I had was trying to have a mind of its own. It wouldn't keep time properly. It would be like random distribution of what the actual time was. You charge the phone, or I mean, you charge the phone. You charge the Fitbit, and over time, it wouldn't mark your steps properly, and then it wouldn't sit there and go, well, it actually is 9:00 whatever in the morning. It's 9:11. It would probably tell me it's like 2:39. No matter how I charged it, and there wasn't a manual option to fix it because it apparently worked on the Earth's clock. So it just got to a point to where the boss was like, "No, that's not going to work. I'm going to get you this." And so I'm still trying to figure out how this works. But I've always had a problem trying to put a watch on my wrist, and it's my dominant wrist. I'm ambidextrous, but I'm left-handed. So I always put things on my left hand. And so trying to write or trying to work, manually, it's the left hand. For my off hand to try to fasten onto my dominant hand is an adventure. And I don't know how long it takes for you guys if you're doing the same thing. I don't know if you put your watch, if you wear it on your secondary hand so your dominant hand can do all the fixing and get everything all squared away. But for me, I've always kind of leaned in one direction. So the watch goes on one hand, it goes on my dominant hand. And so my secondary hand, or I don't want to call it recessive, it's just my secondary hand is the one that's trying to sit there and fix things. And I'm not very mobile with it. I can't really figure out, okay, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? And so it takes me forever to put something on my dominant hand as opposed to having it on my secondary hand and it going poop, 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 and you're done. I didn't know if you guys had the same issues. I doubt you do, considering how much more technologically inclined all of you are. And yes, Abby does make the point that it is technology and it is always a little difficult. Traditionally, it's a little more than a little difficult. But yeah, dealing with technology. And I, for the longest time, have not worn a watch. I mean, it's on my phone, The phone tells me time. Yeah, it's kind of like Roy Kent, I don't need I don't need a phone and a watch. One of those kinds of things. So it's just a little odd for me to try to wear a fitness device that tells time, and at the same time try to sit there and figure out, okay, what hand am I putting it on? Am I putting it on the proper hand? I'm putting it on this hand because I'm used to doing things with this hand, and having my secondary hand try to put it on. It's an adventure. Alex, press the watch face against your chest to hold it steady while I buckle. Okay, I could do that. Yeah, and I mean, literally, I'm literally trying to in the morning, just to give you an example. So watch is here, and I try to find a way, obviously, to pin it down so it doesn't move, but still trying to do something with this hand is somewhat counterintuitive. And then it takes me like 3 or 4 times to get it through the latch to where it will latch on. But yeah, my secondary hand is just useless in trying to get all this stuff squared away. But I didn't know if you guys were having the same problems with your watches and trying to figure out how to put them on and what hand you put it on, dominant or secondary. And, that way your dominant hand is fixing things and it's quicker, or if it's on your dominant hand and your secondary hand is the one trying to do all the work. So it's it's a pain, and it's like literally trying to relearn how to put a watch back on after all this time. So new fitness device, tells time, and literally, and this is also like the Inspector Gadget part of this whole thing. So this actually, since it is Bluetoothed to my phone, if my phone rings, my wrist goes off, and I have the option of either answering through my wrist and doing the whole Inspector Gadget thing, or going through the Bluetooth or going through the speakerphone and what have you. So there have been instances where I have Inspector Gadgeted, and that's just a weird thing. I mean, literally, you're walking down the street and you're talking into your wrist like you're MI5 or something. It's like, yeah. No, I haven't done that. I'll do that. Literally, it's like you're some kind of secret intelligence agency or something. It's just weird for me to have the capability as a default idea. Literally, the phone will ring and my wrist will go off, and then I'll have the option of sitting here and doing that, and then talking on my wrist. I'm in this whole new technology stuff for me, and how it routes into your phone and everything is always a bit of an adventure. So it's, it is a new world for me. Well, if Wiley, I'm not. I was never a Dick Tracy person. The only Dick Tracy I really could, in addition to the cartoon, Wiley's like he was expecting a Dick Tracy reference and not an Inspector Gadget reference. Really, I looked at Dick Tracy in the comics, really didn't follow it. The only Dick Tracy that I really knew was the movie with Madonna and Warren Beatty. That's about the extent of the Dick Tracy-ness that I get. Yeah, but this for me is like Inspector Gadget. The only thing, go Gadget helmet, go Gadget hat, and then the helicopter takes off, and you keep wandering and all these kinds of things. So, yeah. So, like I said, I didn't know if you guys go through the same problems that I am, or if you are all, if you're all better with your acuity than me. So it's yeah, better at putting these things on and better at these functioning things and having it route across all of your devices. So yeah, that's I'm still getting used to this. I'm still getting all of this used to this. So it's yeah. I mean, look, I said it's an adventure. Nothing new. That it's an adventure involving technology. But yeah, I know Emilio is one of these. I'm guessing. I'm guessing it's one of these where Emilio is an inbound where you turn your wrist toward yourself. I turn my wrist away from myself because, like I said, I'm just used to working with things with an open hand. And so for me, with an open hand, the face of my watch is looking at me at that point. So that's just where it is with me. It's always been to the inside of my wrist because of just what I do with my hands, as opposed to I'll turn my, I'll throw a screwball and I'll, open my wrist this way. But no, I didn't know if you guys battle technology, if your battles are faster or if you had the same kind of battles. Just checking. When you have new devices on your person that you're sitting there going, I've never done this before. That was just that, like I said, it was just one of those odd things that I came across when I was trying to put my fitness device / watt time telling device on this morning. It was just something that popped into my head. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee. KickoffCoffeeCO.com. That's your QR code. Hit the QR code. Start your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and KickoffCoffeeCO.com. Buy out the store, and you can do it at a 15% discount. Use the code SoccerDownHere15 as your code at checkout. You get 15% off your purchase. So folks at Kickoff Coffee, just ask our friend Melissa Ortiz. Take 10%, and they reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they've earmarked as cool. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and KickoffCoffeeCO.com. Okay. Last night, Atlanta United and Necaxa opening round of Leagues Cup. And it was no, I don't wear a regular watch. This is about as regular as it gets. It's a fitness device that tells time. So you sit there and you go bing, and then everything starts popping up and everything. It's like tells your steps and your calories. That's another thing. This thing I don't think tells calories right. It tells me kilocalories. It doesn't tell me calories, and so I get kind of thrown off. But no, I don't. This is as regular a timepiece as I wear, and I just started wearing it back. Anyway, last night Leagues Cup. Atlanta United Necaxa opening round of Phase 1. Phase 1 for Atlanta United last night went well for a while. You did have some blocks of time where Atlanta United was right there with Necaxa, but by the end of it all, it was a 3-1 win for the visitors. Brad Gazan, oh, man. Okay. And I've for those of you that might have missed the discussion on the full-time report, I've got to get into this, and we will after the discussion of the match in and of itself, and we'll probably drift in and out of the match here in hour number 1, just kind of going from point to point and all over the place. So Brad Gazan is initially discredited. If you're credited with an own goal, do you want that credit? I'm just asking. It should be it's you because you're not awarded an own goal. Necaxa is awarded an own goal. Brad is credited with an own goal, but do you want credit for an own goal? It's discrediting. So Brad is the one attached to goal number 1 in the match, and it ends up being a 1-0 at that point. And then from there, you get 15 minutes later, Alexei Miranchuk. Oh, God, I've got there are so many things about this own goal that I've got to get into in and around all of the activity. But anyway, Miranchuk scores great team goal. And Alexei starts the play down the middle channel out to the left-hand side to Luke Brennan. Luke caused problems last night. And I know that there is a discussion in the Twitch pitch disagreeing with me and Abe for player of the match. There were a couple, but with Alexei grading the highest for Atlanta United last night, that's why I went the direction that I did. So it was 1-1 at the break. Thomas Badaloni comes in, scores 2 goals within 15 minutes as Atlanta United is chasing, and we'll go through all of the dynamics that were there. And then by the end of it all, 3-1 Necaxa winners. And so Necaxa is a leg up and is a part of the discussion for one of the 4 Liga MX sides that advances out of Phase 1 into the round of 8. Because the way that the format is, and once again, we will be catching up with Tom Mayo, the executive director of Leagues Cup, tomorrow morning at 11. So what was supposed to be supersized, I mean, the man is kind of busy. So what was supposed to be supersized yesterday will be supersized tomorrow. So Tom Mayo will be joining us 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll break everything down, Leagues Cup and all of that. The way that the Leagues Cup is currently structured, you got to win. You got to win a lot, and you got to win by a lot. And so Necaxa has full points plus 2. Puebla's got full points plus 3. And you have those clubs that are, and we'll go over results and things like that. But you got to win a lot. You got to win by a lot to try to be one of those top 4 clubs that gets into the round of 8. Necaxa, full points at a plus 2. Atlanta, right now, no points. You've got to win your next 2 to have a shot. You got to make up your goal difference and hope that you climb over a lot of other clubs here in Phase 1. So stats on the night, and you will, provided it decides it wants to give them to me. I'm skipping over possession because possession for me doesn't really matter. Total shots, 35 total shots on the night. And it was Atlanta with 18, 17 for Necaxa, 3 saves each. 11 corners, 6 for Atlanta United. 26 fouls on the night, 17 for Necaxa. And tackles, 34, 21 for Necaxa. 17 free kicks, obviously, for Atlanta United. 3 yellow cards, 2 of them for Atlanta United. Attack, 1 big chance scored each side. 3 big chances missed for Atlanta United. And I know that's something that we've got to get into. Miggy and Latte Lot, a couple of chances missed each. Twice as many touches inside the 18, once again leading to those 3 chances and having those big 3 chances missed. 3 times fouled in the final third, 2 offsides compared to 1. Duels, it was 42 of 37 on the ground, 11 of 25 in the air for Atlanta United. 13 dribbles successful out of 25. Necaxa 9 of 14. Defending, 34 total tackles, 21 to Necaxa. 17 picks, 12 to Necaxa. 104 recoveries, 54 of them to Atlanta United. 61 clearances on the night, 32 for Necaxa in this. One error is leading to a shot, and that was the Derek Williams error. And last night on the full-time report, you can go back and listen to that at 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. Derek Williams took responsibility for that particular pass that led to Mihai having to drop back and basically race and shut the door to create the corner that in turn created the set piece and the header that made it 2-1, the first of the two Badaloni goals. Individual numbers. Starting lineup for Atlanta United: Brad, left to right, Pedro, Derek, Stian, who graded out well last night at 7, and Ronald Hernandez, who had the yellow card. And I give Ronald a lot of credit for playing as long as he did on a bogus yellow. Tristan and Bart played in front of them. You had Luke Brennan, Alexei Miranchuk, who graded out at an 8.2, Miguel Almiron at a 6.6, and then Jamal up top at a 7. You had the 4 changes that happened with 25 to go. Brooks, Mihai, Riley, and Latte-Lot in for Pedro, Stian, Tristan, and Jamal. And you've got to kind of manage that. It looked like Ronnie wanted to do a full fire wagon change, but then just decided to do 4 of the 5. He brought in Saba with 10 to go to take out Derek Williams, because at that point you are trying to chase goals. Thomas Badaloni, obviously player of the match with an 8.8. 2 goals in 16 minutes of play for Badaloni. And that was the final score, 3-1. Other finals on the night, just to kind of catch our bearings as to where things stand after 2 match nights in Liga MX. Jarrett was up late, but for him it was up normal, watching RSL and Club America. What you want if you're a fan of Atlanta United going forward is you're looking for Liga MX teams to win and knock each other around. You don't care about the 4 Liga MX teams because it doesn't directly affect you. But what you do want is for them to win, and you want them to knock each other around in all the match days so you can try to be one of the 4 to get out of group. Doesn't matter who you're a fan of, but that's just how this rolls. So last night, goal at 90+6 by Cello Weigand. Talasco Segovia scored in the 58th to break a goalless draw at the Erector set. Lozano scored with 10 to go for Atlas, and then Cello Weigand scored at 90+6. And Messi and friends get the Duke. They win it 2-1, and they carry on in phase 1 on the night. It looked like at one point, and for those of you that might have been at home or who were keeping an eye on Atlanta as your primary, there was a point in the match where it looked like our old friend Gonzalo Pineda was wanting to drop with Javier Mascherano. They were both not happy about something, and Gonzalo Pineda decided that he had had enough. He'd had all he could stand. He can't stand no more, and decided that he was going to turn and yell past the 4th at Javier Mascherano. Javier Mascherano was not going to have any of it, and so he starts yelling back. Then you see there's the camera that's in the well behind the 4th. Literally, the camera in the well has a close-up, an extreme close-up, one of those Les Mis close-ups that you see, at Gonzalo Pineda, who is in his dress blacks, by the way. He is black T-shirt, black wrap over, sweatshirt, and slacks and the whole thing. So Gonzo is literally working his way up close to the camera in the well, yelling past the 4th at Mascherano. They have to come up with another camera to shoot Mascherano, yelling back at Gonzalo Pineda. They went at it for a couple of minutes. They were going at it for a couple of minutes. And that was very, very intriguing to see that. Gonzo wasn't having any of it from Mascherano. Mascherano wasn't having any of it from Gonzalo. And Gonzalo, where the 2 of them were going at it, goal by Cello Weigand at 90+6, 2-1. And that was your final score. So there is that was your first result on the evening. Also on the board, Pumas and Orlando. Orlando at the purple team's home barn, and they were the away team, ranked number 16, by the way. Pumas 1-1 with the purple team. went to PKs. Pumas won 4-3. Schlegel scored in the 5th minute, and Carrasquilla scored with 10 to go. Coco Carrasquilla. Say that 10 times fast. Then you go to PKs. Pumas wins 4-3 in PKs. A lot of yellow cards in this one. 4 yellows. Wow, let's see. 4-2. And then they overcorrected. And let's see, this is something we got to look at. So 4 yellows on the purple team late in the first half, early in the second. 44, 45 plus 1, 45 plus 2. Literally, you had 3 yellow cards in 3 minutes. Freeman, Brecalo, and Angulo. Ruvalcaba had a mutual yellow with Freeman. And so you end up Gillespie with a time-wasting yellow, I imagine, in the 59th minute. And literally then you don't have another one until Schlegel at 90 plus 5. Pumas missed their first PK. Atuesta missed in the second round. Then Araujo missed in the 4th round. Carrasquilla and Muriel converted in the 5th, and that was all she wrote. So Pumas gets the extra point, winning 4-3 in PKs. Also on the board, Minnesota, they scored too early against Querétaro at home. Bongo Longwane and Kelvin Yeboah scored in the first 20 minutes. Then you end up with Querétaro scoring to make it 2-1. Zapata gets a red in the 88th after it was 3-1. Marcanic scored. And then Tani Oluwaseyi scored 3 minutes later. 4-1, Minnesota puts up a number, so they get full points plus 3. Keep an eye on them. America and Salt Lake. Salt Lake tried their darndest. The match, according to Jarrett, who was watching, was out of control early. Diego Luna scored in the 16th. Brian Rodriguez scored to even it up in the 42nd. Willie Agata scored at 45 plus 2. It was 2-1 Salt Lake at the break. Sanchez scores at 90 plus 7 to take it to PKs. RSL wins in PKs 3-1, so they get the extra point on the day. And according to Jarrett, Willie Agata could not hit, a cow with a bass fiddle. He is not the most fleet of foot, and that was made evident in the second 45. So extra point goes to the extra point goes to RSL. Then your late game, Portland all over Atlético San Luis at Providence Park 4-0. David DaCosta scored in the first minute. That was what it was at the break. Kevin Kelsey, Ariel Lassiter, Felipe Mora, 3 goals, 22 minutes apart. Portland goes on to win that one 4-0. So Portland, you have to keep an eye on them. Full points plus 4. So keep an eye on Portland going forward. Can they keep that momentum up going forward? Atlético San Luis, by the way, you had a Johnny Vial sighting last night coming off the bench for Atlético San Luis. So for those of you that remember Johnny Vial with the twos and with the first team, you end up with Johnny Vial coming on late in a 4-0 win for Portland. So after those matchups, you have what's going on today, and we'll get into juice boxes in a second. And I know that we've got to get into what you guys have to say. And I've still, for those of you that might have missed the rant last night, there were a couple of moments that I thought were important. But once again, if you embrace the CONCACAFiness of the officials, then you're not surprised by the iniquity of their calls. And I was going back and forth with Bart early on about calls last night. And God knows there were plenty to talk about. But your matchups tonight, you've got another 6 tonight. And that is the end of match day 3. Match day 3 in group stage in phase 1. So match day 3, phase 1 tonight. 6 matchups will go into juice boxes here after what happened last night. So it is Monterrey and Cincinnati. So once again, if you're a fan of Atlanta United, you are rooting for as many Liga MX sides as humanly possible, and you want them to score as much as possible in these matchups. So Monterrey and FC Cincinnati. Monterrey favored at a plus 141. Draws a plus 246. FC Cincinnati's a plus 167. 730, which is really 740. Charlotte and Juarez. Charlotte even money plus 100. Draws a plus 259. Juarez is a plus 231. Also at 740, Chivas and Red Bulls. Chivas favored at a plus 142. Draws a plus 240. Red Bulls are a plus 169. At 21:30, that's 21:39, 940. Rapids and Santos Laguna. Rapids a minus 189. Prohibitive favorite against Santos Laguna, who's a plus 401 in the composite. Draws a plus 349. 1040 Cruz Azul in Seattle. Obviously, we'll talk to Niko Moreno about that when he shows up here at 10:30 and beyond. So about an hour away from hearing from Niko. Cruz Azul a plus 119. Draws a plus 252. And Seattle is a plus 195 at home against Cruz Azul. What are the odds you think we see Yorgi Shakamaki sitting on the bench and not being active? 11-10, LAG and Xolos, Tijuana. LAG is actually favored at a plus 102 since they have found their somewhat winning ways recently within the last month. Draws a plus 292, and Xolos is a plus 200. And by the way, I mentioned the whole thing about the watch. Phone call going off on my wrist this very second. So it's like I said, I could hit any button and it would work. I could either go on the phone, but yeah, this is what it looks like. Literally, when someone's calling me, that's what that looks like. So there you go. I know that there is a disagreement. First, let me say hi to everybody. Morning, Will. Morning, Alex. Morning, David. Yeah, Ropes. I did not realize Maddie was lower third until I saw it. So that was when I changed it. So morning, Ropes. Morning, Abby. Morning, Rich. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any. Morning, Emilio. Morning, Wiley. Will. Let's see. Wiley, Alex, David, Abby. Understand why Luke is your man of the match. I do. And we'll get into Luke's numbers in a bit. Will, Abby, morning, Lokeville. Morning when 92.9 called it at like 91, mentally checked out. It was disappointing. Let's see. David, Will, Tom Russo, the Airborne DJ. Let's see. Emilio, Abby, David, Will, Ropes, Tom. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that is here. Morning, Derek. Morning, Lokeville. Yeah, we'll get into that because that's been bugging me all night and all morning. And so there you go. Yeah, it was a long day yesterday. Abby mentioning the twos. The Revs scored. Revs very, very clinical in their defense, creating short fields. And it was 3-0 early, first 25 minutes, I want to say. And then that was pretty much all she wrote. Atlanta United had a tall order of the twos, trying to chase after a result after going down early. And so we will have the matchup with Messi and Friends 2 this weekend in MLS Next Pro. And we'll have that one for you once again. That is on Sunday night, I believe. And for that, we are catching up with Jose Silva, and it is at the Erector Set. So 6:30 pregame on Sunday night as the twos go down to take on Messi and Friends 2. That's on MLSNextPro.com. And we will have the audio version for you on the SDH network. 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kick from the Erector Set. Atlanta United 2 and Messi and Friends 2. That one is on Sunday night. Okay. There were a couple of moments that were driving me crazy. For those of you that want to go back and listen to the full-time report, please do. Early on, if you wanted to call the Luke Brennan tackle in the 3rd minute, Luke was pushed down. I think that would have been a soft call if that had happened. So that one didn't necessarily bother me. You had the early moments on where you had, I think Atlanta matched the speed with which Necaxa wanted to play the match. Definitely they did in the first 45. Necaxa wanted to make it chaotic. They wanted to try and create short fields, really try and press you out of the building. I think Atlanta handled themselves fairly well. There was the moment early on where Brad had the fancy footwork. And what is that forward? What is that forward saying going back to the locker room? Yeah, you had a 40-year-old dress you down with some fancy footwork. What's that going to be like on the practice pitch? Bart had the shot and save in the 8th minute. Then we get to the 12th minute here and the 5-minute VAR review. And at the end of it all, I was just as confused, apparently, as Abe was, as Maddie was, as Caroline was, and as Jason and Mike were in the broadcast. Because as it looked, and I will stipulate, I will stipulate at the end of the play, I would have thought goal off the board, handball, penalty kick. And then it probably would have been 1-0. So that was what was going through my head at the end of all of this. What I thought should have happened and why it took 5 minutes to walk this thing back as the officials did was disappointing, stunning, and anger-inducing all at the same time. Why it takes you 5 minutes to navigate through something where really at the end of the day, if you apply the laws of the game, should have been point blank, handball in the box, take the goal off the board, put it on the spot, and then Necaxa gets to try again. So as we walk through it, it is 12th minute. You have one, if not two players offside for Necaxa to begin with. So you have two players who looked like they are in an offside position. In the overhead shot, you actually had a slash at the edge of the 18, MBS being one of the venues that can give you that camera angle. So one, if not two players offside for Necaxa. So then you have Derek going down. I want to say it was Derek. And obviously, as you're sliding down, he's moving his arm up to protect his face. He's shielding his face, but the left arm is away from his body. And left arm away from the body, up, shield. Ball makes contact, but it only makes enough contact to glance off the arm and deflect and go in. And so off of Derek, shot, crossbar, deflection crossbar off of Brad Nin. So if all of those things are going on and you see that someone is offside, then work the play backward. How it took 5 minutes to do this is beyond me. And then you listen to the interview that we have with Brad on the full-time report. He didn't get a good explanation either. I thought that maybe it was one of those where you look at the center ref and he's holding it up. Is he saying the body language? And I think that this is something that needs to be addressed in Leagues Cup is the idea of, much like we see in a lot of other leagues, like we see in Major League Soccer, that you have a microphone that you key it and you explain what's going on. So you have what I thought this was, where the official is brushing across the forearm. I thought he was describing the contact there that was, natural position or whatever. Brad did not get a decent response or explanation. He got a nonsensical one from what we understood in the full-time report. He didn't understand what they told him. I didn't understand what the call was. And at the end of the day, it's a goal awarded. But why would you award a goal if you called a handball and you didn't call advantage? So it just speaks once again to, like I said, I am not disputing the end of the play. The end of the play for me should have been goal wiped off the board, put ball in the spot, PK, Necaxa, probably converted. I mean, 95, 99% conversion rate in PKs, things like that. So I am more than anything looking at why the hell this took 5 minutes to get to this decision. What was going on? Why? And if it took you 5 minutes, this to me leans itself into the idea of trying to re-referee something. which is a point that we have been trying to make here on the show for as far back as any of us can remember, is that why are you re-refereeing from VAR? And we had a moment later on in the match where if you're looking at something on VAR, then you're re-refereeing all over again. And I think that we saw that more than one occasion last night to the detriment of the match itself, not just to Necaxa, really, and to Atlanta United in the second instance that happened in the second half, but to the detriment of the match. You slow down your momentum. You're taking 5 minutes to determine something that really isn't all that difficult to determine, I wouldn't think. And then you end up with the decision that is made. And 17th minute, it's called a Brad OG. 17th minute. It took 5 minutes, 5, to determine that they're just going to say that it was a Brad own goal by the end of it all, which to me, once again, made no sense. But anyway. Sorry, multivitamin. 11 minutes later, you have great team play. Alexi down the middle. Great ball to Luke on the outside. Luke was causing a whole lot of havoc, and we went through Luke's numbers on the post-game show. But let me go through Luke's numbers once again for those that might have missed. The yellow card, I think, which was a professional foul. I mean, it was definitely something that Luke had to do. Played the full 90, 46 touches, 14 of 16 passing at 88%. 2 key passes on the night, 1 shot blocked, 5 successful dribble attempts, 6 for 17 on his duels, 6 of 15 on the ground, by the way. Fouled once, officially, when he was really fouled like 5 times. Had the 1 clearance and had the 1 pick. Registered at a 6.1 on the evening. Obviously, with Alexi scoring the goal and being active as much as he was, all the assists got wiped off the board. I think that Luke should have gotten an assist on the goal with Tristan and Alexi finishing to make it 1-1. I think that Luke should have gotten a hockey assist there, but they called deflection, and so it's unassisted. Miranchuk in the 28th to make it 1-1. Then, let's see. You had a couple of instances, once again, where you had players that I think were trying to wait for the perfect shot instead of just shooting. A couple of instances in the 50th and the 70th that we talked about post-match with both Miggy and Latte-Lot. How Ronald got the yellow card for basically making no touch with anybody in the 40th minute is beyond me. Like I said, I give Ronald full credit for playing the other 50 minutes and being gassed late in the match on a yellow card. How you only came up with 5 minutes added is beyond me in the first 45, considering that was your VAR review. I was joking in the press box. I said it's going to be 26 minutes added, and it was only 5, and we were literally laughing at everybody saying that it was going to be just only 5 minutes. So it was 1-1 at the break. Miggy had the 1 great shot in the 50th minute where Unsain came up big with the save. And then Luke's with his professional foul. You had the 4 subs in the 60s. Then the other moment that was attached to a penalty call where VAR was waved off. Mihai is taken down in the box. Yes, it would have been a soft penalty, but akin to everything else that was called on the evening, if you were looking for consistency, you probably should have called the Mihai grab for an opportunity for Atlanta United to try and take a 2-1 lead. Then you had in the 77th minute, you had the Derek Williams back pass and Mihai having to backtrack, clears the ball out for the corner. But once again, the corner should not have happened. Derek admitted as much in the post-match interviews that we had. Badaloni beat everyone to the ball. Header in 2-1 at that point in the 77th. And so you're trying to chase at that point. And then you end up with another 5 minutes added, and then Badaloni once again just got behind the defense. And Ronald did not if you look, Badaloni looked like he just got lost in traffic and got behind everybody. So 2 goals in 14, 15 minutes. Badaloni ran to the match. 3-1 to Necaxa, and that's it at the end of the day. But more head-scratching moments involving gentlemen with flags, yellow jerseys, black shorts, and whistles. But to Jason's point last night, if you embrace the CONCACAFiness, then you embrace the CONCACAFiness. Yeah, I get it. Okay, fine. If we know that going in, then we know that the only thing consistent is the inconsistency. But we don't know that going in. And you have moments like you had repeatedly last night with the crew that was calling the Atlanta United match. And I'm sure that Brad is still looking for an explanation as to what in the hell happened on the 5-minute VAR review that eventually kept it at 1-0 instead of wiped it off the board, made it 0-0, and then made it 1-0 at that point. So there you go. Will wondering about Brad still in the 11, play the kids. I mean, I would look at it as what is Jaden how is Jaden's learning curve Monday through Friday? Or in this case, what's today? Thursday. So Sunday through Wednesday. So what is Jaden Hibbert's learning curve? And are you comfortable enough to have him out there with a back line that might have some new parts to it? So Jaden has to learn everyone in front of him, and then you have Mihai come in. You have to learn Mihai on top of all of this. So I think that is a decision with the coaching staff that is made in between match days. How is Jaden coming along? Would he be ready in a situation like this? So we'll see. Just keep an eye on all of that going forward. Yeah, and David, outside of the WTF with VAR, they even got the trash call on Gregerson to begin with. Nothing near a foul. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And there were a lot of instances, like I said, the Gregerson one, glad you remembered that one. The Ronald foul, I have no earthly clue what they were looking at. I give Mihai credit, though, for basically throwing one player into another and creating pinball for Necaxa and then getting called for a foul. Will, there have been a lot of really cool tributes about Ryan Sandberg. I saw someone had posted the video of the Rhino game where I think he went, 5 of 6, had 2 home runs, including one late in the 9th and one in the 11th in one of the crazier games. I want to say it was Cardinals-Cubs, and Bruce Sutter was pitching, trying to close the door for the Cardinals. And Sutter gave up a home run in the 9th. It was either the 8th or the 9th to Sandberg, and then did it again in his next at-bat. Absolutely crazy. Wiley, we do not get the same allowances, I don't believe, like we do in Major League Soccer. I'm sure there is a protocol in Leagues Cup to ask center refs questions. Wiley's asking about press crew not getting the right questions for the refs in the competition. That is a good question. I have not heard of any kind of protocol, but I don't know if it goes through the Professional Writers Association like it does in Major League Soccer. That's a hell of a question. And what I will do next time, next Wednesday that we see folks, I'll ask about that, because that's a hell of a question. To ask what the walkthrough was on the 5-minute VAR. But the one thing that you have to be very, very mindful of is that you have to word the question absolutely picture perfect. Because if there is a modifier out of place, the question is traditionally treated very, very literal. So therefore, it would be treated literally. It's a how, John. It's an adverb. So you have to ask the question literally picture perfect. Or you're going to get like a blow-off half-sentence call stands as reviewed on the field kind of response. You literally have to lay it all out for you in this multiple subject, verb, pluperfect agreement flow chart like we used to do in English class. You've got to have it all laid out. For Major League Soccer to ask pro a question, it's got to be laid out that way. I don't know if we have the same allowances afforded to us in Leagues Cup and what protocol is. Remind me Tuesday, or actually remind me Wednesday morning. Remind me Wednesday morning, Wiley, about finding out protocol for asking center refs about calls and if it is, in fact, the same as it is in Major League Soccer. I love that question. Let's see. And Abby, I know that you're not alone in all of this, but I thought Atlanta United, for most stretches, was the better club last night. But it was about those moments that we talk about where Necaxa had better moments and had things happen to them in those moments that either created opportunity or created goals. You have an own goal, which was chaos in and of itself. You have a back pass that was not a good idea, didn't have a whole lot of weight on it, and it was taken advantage of, creates a corner, creates a set piece and a goal. And then the third one, everyone is tired at that point, and you just have a player step kind of in between you and get behind the defense, kept onside, and it ends up nice through ball slam dunk. And that was the 3. Let's see. So Abby wears a watch with hands. Doesn't wear anything connected to a phone, and Abby is indeed an Android person, and she's recommending the stretch band. People usually wear the watch on the non-dominant side. See, I mean, I guess that's how I'm literally leaning in one direction the entire way. It's like I'm so, I don't know, left dependent or left leaning that it's like I'm everything is kind of going in that direction. So I actually had to relearn how to write left-handed because I got N's in handwriting in second grade. And I was one of those kids where my teacher was like, you need to bring in your parents. And so it was my mom and my grandparents, and my teacher in second grade said he needs to change hands. I was writing left-handed, getting N's. And so they said, he needs to change hands. And my parents and my mom and my grandparents were like, okay. So literally I had to change. They forced me to write right-handed starting in elementary school. And so I wrote right-handed after starting to write left-handed. Then to stay awake in lectures in college, I relearned how to write left-handed. So if I want to write something, I'll do it left-handed. If I want to write it quickly, I write it right-handed. So yes, technically I could take a pen in each hand and write something at the same time. When I'm doing my notes for broadcast, I have 2 separate highlighters and 2 separate colors, and I'm going like this down the page. And Alex, I think you're not the only one that said that agrees. Speaking of time for Atlanta United to stop with this nonsense. Absolutely true. Emilio's got a Fitbit on the non-dominant because he likes a real timepiece on the dominant hand. And to be clear, I am not blaming the officials for what happened last night. That is not what I'm doing. It is a side conversation about the tournament in and of itself. That's a side conversation about the tournament. And if this is going to be the way of the tournament, then we just kind of have to brace ourselves for it. So calories on food packaging are actually kilocalories. Blamed, yes. Let's see. Wondering if sleeping on the first VAR review makes any difference over what he and Abe spoke about last night. No. David, it doesn't. I still think that as we've walked through this morning, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell the ref was thinking. I'm still legitimately trying to figure out what he was thinking. I have no idea. I have no idea what they were discussing. And Abby, Josh has had surgery, and I know that the other and there have been a lot of discussion and talking in the Twitch pitch about Jay Fortune. Matt Edwards is injured, and I don't know what his timeline is on return. So that's why things are what they're looking like right now. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else is here in the Twitch pitch about everything. And yeah, Jay Fortune definitely missing. Let's see. Movement after substitution, slowed play, took away some of the positive progress on the right. And I think that you're seeing that with Miggy and Miranchuk and Ronald specifically in the right-hand side. You're seeing more of a relationship among the three of them where there's an understanding about do this, and do this, where other personnel are still trying to figure out, who goes what, where, and does what. So, yes, Will with the Pepperidge Farm comment this morning. And Alex, to the point about the academy producing and for sales, and that's part of it. You see it with all your favorite clubs around the world. Bringing up the young talent, sell the young talent on. But I think that considering the franchise is as young as it is, and we have seen, and I'll say this, when it comes to the younger players, I think that it hits us a little closer to home because we've seen them grow. And it is as intimate a relationship as it is when you go and see the twos. As much as we cover the twos here at SDH, we call the matches. You get to understand the growth, the progression. You see where they are. They get to have their first team moments, and then they're moved on. That's the economics of the sport. Is it disappointing? Absolutely. Does it hit a little harder? Yeah. I mean, considering what we've seen in the growth with Caleb and Noah and Ephra and George and all of the backs and everybody move on. It's just always, it's been that way. And so I know it probably hits a little harder considering the proximity that's attached. All right. Hour number 2. It is that time where we get to go. What show I ask somewhat rhetorically can go from Atlanta to Lima, Peru, and then later in the same show go from Lima, Peru to Seattle, Washington. I believe that there's this number of shows, one show. And we start by going in hour number 2 to Lima, Peru. We catch up with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV, who comes in fully loaded yellow.
What's up here, fans? Nino Torres from Lima, Peru, with a hoodie season, with a coffee, ready to roll, and envying all the scarves that Johnny has in the bag because I might need one more right now. I got one already. I can't complain. They sent me one. He sent me one. Atlanta United scarf. I got it right here. So,
yeah,
let me bring it up.
Where's your turn? You got to turn that camera, son.
Hold on a second. Man.
There it is.
There we go. There we go. Now we're properly dressed right now.
There it is.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. So you are gassed up, ready to go. And as always, we have topics, and I choose not to see the topics because I know that we are going to be spending time involving transfers with folks from the European continent working their way to England and all the Premier League stuff and all of that. The Jokerish deal finally done. Doner than done. He got to go where he's going for a boatload of money. We saw that coming, but it was good to talk about it as we go. We have gossip, rumor, and innuendo to work through there. All right, now I have the topics. I have the topics. I have yet to see them. So when I turn to my right, I will see them for the first time here on a Thursday. Topic number 1. Oh, actually, tell you what. I'm going to go to topic number 4 since we were kind of talking about it.
Okay.
Since we were discussing this particular individual. No party in Hong Kong for Jokeresh. Please explain yourself, sir.
Yeah, man, the North London Derby travel, I don't know how many miles is from London to Hong Kong, man. Probably 15,000 miles or something like
11 billion miles.
Right, something like that. You got to take a rocket, man, to go there from London to Hong Kong first off. But, against Tottenham, he played. I was expecting more, right? I was expecting if you're signing a striker for 60 mil, then play 13 minutes only in his debut. Give him at least a good, the first 45 minutes. Start the guy, right? But no. Because say, you know what? Let me squeeze you in for the last 13 minutes. Maybe you can pull something spectacular because you're the Night King and you're capable of unliving people and then bring them from the dead. So maybe maybe, right? But no, he did this like the Night King does, but no, it didn't work out for him. So the Night King went empty-handed as Victor Joker's debut with Arsenal. Was I 13 minutes for a $60 million player, I don't think is the right move for Arteta, right? I mean, even I know you got your squad, I know you got your people, all right. You went to the Premier League almost winning, but that's Arsenal. You're Arsenal. You start on top and you finish second. That's what they are. So, yeah. I was expecting more, but it's gonna be more to come, of course, right? Because it's only the first game. His debut. Everybody expecting him to score from the get go, right? Because he's one of the most prolific strikers in the planet for the past 2 seasons. But not in his debut. No. That only belongs to the great ones like my boy Ronaldo Nazario da Lima. We got a story for Ronaldo Nazario in a second or two or three for you, man. It's on the topics. It's on the topics.
Okay, it is in the topics. All right, so yeah, I'll go back to topic number one. Go in the
Uh-huh.
decision day in Universitario. It better be good or ... He thinks he's Larry King all of a sudden. ... It better be good or.
Or right. Okay, so this is the final day. This is the final day. The Peruvian IRS Sunat, they're gonna make their decision
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Today, all right. For the new administrator of Universitario de Deportes. All right. There were six candidates for the position. One was from a Mexican group. What does the Mexican group wants to do with the Peruvian club that is under the Peruvian IRS administration? So it's, I don't know. So there was a candidate from Mexico, right, from a group from Pachuca. Then the other five. One we discussed last week when I told you that guy that was getting a double income as a you remember that guy? Yeah, that guy is still on the final three. That guy is still among the top three candidates. But one of the three is the one from Ferrari's administration. So he was the attorney for the current administration. So he was qualified to apply for the job, and he's still standing, right? But the other two are really really bad if Sunat goes with them, right? Because we know this in Universitario Deportes. I mean, you know me. I'm in every single chat. I got my card. I got my everything from Universitario. So I know my things about Universitario, right? And I got the WhatsApp groups and everything. There's, there is a movement. There's a movement. If they don't go with the best candidate, that is Franco Velasco, the attorney for the current administration, there's movements. There's gonna be movements on the streets. On the streets, everyone. If Velasco is not being chosen, is not the chosen one. Uh, I'm gonna send you the pictures of the streets in front of the Peruvian ROS headquarters. There's gonna be a lot of people out there, and they're gonna hear us. And I said us. I said hear us. You know me. Hear us. So, all right. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Leave it like that, brother. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. If the things are going wrong, I'm gonna be there.
And all I'm going to ask, sir, is that you be safe if this does in fact come to pass, because we know that those situations can get out of hand, and we know that emotions can be elevated. I would just ask, the journalist in me wants you to shoot the whole thing and cover it and have it live streamed and all that kind of stuff, so the world can see what's going on. But at the same time, sir, knowing how much we love you and we love everyone there, we want you to be safe.
We're a band of brothers. Everyone is on the same page. I know they're gonna make us hear, but we're gonna be respectful. We always Well, I mean, this is a family, man. This is a big family of Universitario de Porto supporters, and we're gonna bring all the flags and the banners and the tifos and the drummers, just to make the right noise, right? Not just noise because of, you know,
Not noise for the sake of noise, but making the
right.
right noise. And that's the key, making the right noise about all of this. All right. So since we will, and by the way, we do have our juice boxes for Liga Uno.
For tonight?
For the yeah, man, we got juice boxes tonight. We got juice boxes for the weekend. We got to find out what matches you're calling and find out what the deal is. But today, just so since we are here,
yeah,
Tarma big favorite against Huánuco. Minus 167. That's at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Eastern time, man. 2 o'clock.
1 o'clock here. 1 o'clock here. 1 p.m. here.
But I will give you credit because there are no overlaps in your time starts, so people can enjoy match instead of having their heads on a swivel and devices and things. So 4:15 Eastern, 3:15 local. Cusco massive favorite against Binacional at a minus 455.
I'm gonna crush him.
8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock your time. Your man JP the second. They're a big dog at home against Alianza Lima. Alianza Lima is a minus 189. JP the second is a plus 509. Draws a plus 281. And your Universidad Deportes, you're the nightcap. You are at 9 o'clock.
Time, baby.
9 o'clock Eastern time against Growl, which sounds like something out of Despicable Me. You're a minus 244 at home, draws a plus 304, and Growl is a plus 708 in the composite. Busting through the others. Tomorrow afternoon, Los Chancas a favorite, minus 141 against the Comerciantes Unidos. Alianza is a favorite on the plus side against Melgar at plus 127. Then Cienciano is a favorite on the road at Garcilaso at a plus 127. On the third, which would be Sunday, the one match, Sport Huancayo, big favorite against Ayacucho. And then the Clausura on Monday, where you have when do you guys not play? You got like Monday, you got a triple header. Cajamarca's a favorite. Sport Boy's a favorite. Wait a second. So Cienciano's playing 2 matches in 3 days?
Yep. Yeah.
And so is Los Chancas, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So Cienciano favored at home on the back end. They're playing on Monday. Then on Tuesday, you're favored at Huánuco at a minus 130. Melgar favored against JP the second at a minus 345, and Alianza Lima is a plus 120 hosting Sporting Cristal. Man, that's a lot of stuff going on.
I know. It's crazy. Lots of soccer here in the Liga Uno. But tonight, the game tonight, Universitario de Portos versus Atlético Grau. That's the game I'm calling for the Liga Uno tonight.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of things, man. There's the return of Raúl Ruiz Diaz to the Monumental, wearing different colors for the first time in his life.
Wow.
Other than Universitario de Portos. All right. At nighttime, we will know by then who is the new administrator for Universitario de Portos. Okay. So there's a lot of things going on with the Universitario. There were offers for Rodrigo Ureña from Universidad de Chile, but Chilean is going to stay. They tried to steal Ureña from different clubs. I mean, they tried from Belgrano in the summer, your winter, back in February. But he went there. Remember that he went to Cordoba and they put the offer, but the money wasn't there, so he got it returned. No, but the money's there. I promise you. No. The money's not. It's not in my account.
Don't even go down that road with the money's there. We promise you. Look, we got John Texter to talk about with the friggin' Eagle Football Holdings and Botafogo, and him owing Atlanta United about 30 large for everything Thiago Almada. So. The money's there, sure.
Yeah, maybe there's a glitch on the system, right? There's a glitch here, right? Anyway, so that too, Rodrigo Ureña is going to stay because the offer from Universidad of Chile is hasn't been sufficient. But there's lots of noise because he's probably the best center mid in the Liga Uno for last season and this season too. So hopefully he stays for another year or 2 or 3 or whatever years he wants to play for Universitario. Stay here, better. Stay here.
Yep. And we mentioned Sporting Cristal, who's only playing once in the Chaos in the Clausura, and that is on the 5th late night. Their Renaissance in Peru with an emotional return against Alianza Lima on the 5th.
So the Renaissance of Sporting Cristal, right? Because they've been they've been under heavy criticism. There've been fires. There've been riots. There've been lots of issues with the Sporting Cristal front office since the GM. Did I tell you that the GM they have a players agency? Did I? I don't think I did, right?
No.
They do have a players agency. They run an agency, right, on the side, right? So they got that business and they got Sporting Cristal's business. Sometimes I think they mix match and they forgot where they at or they forgot if we're selling players. Is this for the agency? No, that's for Sporting Cristal.
Yeah.
Oh, make the secretary make another note because that's not the contract that we signed for this player. And and it's so crazy, right? And but in the end, there was a lot of it's been this off season, this transition between the Apertura and the Clausura for Sporting Cristal. It's been ridiculously wild. They got rid of 7 players from the roster. 7 players from the roster. All right, 7. This is not usual being for any club. 7 from one half of the season to the other side of the season, right? And then the legend Uribe has been named the technical director. He was actually the what's it called with the boys? So the ombudsman, what's it called for that?
The ombudsman, yeah.
The ombudsman, right? But then he jumped into the technical director position, like he named himself like that because I don't know, brother.
I'm the ombudsman. There you go.
But I'm the legend too, so I'm gonna make decisions on who leaves or who stays. So okay. So anyway, after all that, Sporting Cristal kicked off the season, the Clausura, outstanding fashion. 3-0, 2-0. They put 5 goals yesterday. On a Sport Huancayo. And everything seems to be running smooth on the pitch. Because off the pitch, it's the whole other drama, brother. And but the return, this is special for not just for Sporting Cristal, but for Peruvian soccer, because for me, he's been the best, I want to say the best number 8 in the last decade for Peruvian soccer. All right, he was the engine for Peru who took us to the World Cup in 2018, and it's been a tremendous player. Yoshimar Yotun, Yoshi Yotun, who played in Orlando. Remember, he played in Orlando.
Yeah.
And he's been with Cristal, but he got the worst injury in soccer. Which one is it? Ligaments, right? Ligaments. When you turn your ligaments on any of your knee, you're gone for the season.
Yeah.
So after 455 days, he returned to action yesterday. Entered the pitch, standing ovation. 5 minutes left on the clock. There's a penalty. Who's gonna take it? Yoshi. Mm-hmm. He went and took the penalty, and he went to the stands and celebrated with his wife. The camera's on, and the cherry on top of the cake for that massive performance of Sporting Cristal, trashing a very dangerous Sport Huancayo who, by the way, they forgot how to play soccer because in the previous game they put 27 shots not on target. It was 27 shots total and 16 on target. They got 3. Yesterday 3. So props to Sporting Cristal, props to Miguel Araujo who's running the show on defense for Sporting Cristal. But having said this, Sporting Cristal in the past 2 seasons, and this one included, okay, they've been so shiny, so spectacular against clubs that are outside of the top, outside of Big Four. Outside of Big Four, they're trashing everyone. When they play against the Big Four, they lose every single game. Talking about Melgar, Alianza, Universitario, and Sport Boys. All right, they beat Sport Boys the past week, but it was a red card situation and blah blah blah. But I want to see Sporting start playing against big dogs. I want to see them if they can develop this champagne soccer that they've been developing the last 3 rounds of the Clausura. If they can do that, and it's coming, the fixture, the calendar for Sporting Cristal after these 3 first rounds is going to be complicated. Melgar is coming, Alianza Lima is coming. So I want to see you. I want to see you against the big dogs. If you can develop that same kind of soccer, then we can talk about it. Maybe a finals against Universitario de Portes at the end of the season.
Portugal Super Cup is today, and there is a new Lucho in town. We do have some gossip, rumor, and innuendo about who might be going where in Portugal as one of the other leagues that you call at GOLTV. Vitor Reis Porto has requested the loan of Vitor Reis from Manchester City earlier this morning. Paulo Dybala, Benfica is reportedly interested in acquiring him to bolster their squad from Roma.
Dybala.
Mm-hmm.
Dybala. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's come out like in the last hour.
I haven't seen that. Wow.
Yeah, Dybala's contract is valid until the end of the next fiscal year. Release clause of 12 million euro for foreign clubs. Current market estimated at transfer market at 8 million euro. Player also has been linked to Al Hilal and Boca Juniors.
Absolutely doable. 10 mil, 12 mil for Benfica. Doable. I will go. Let me hold on a second. Hey, Rico, stop. Hey, you need to sign Paulo Dybala right now, brother. Okay, Nino, we got it. Bring out. Okay.
Deniz Gül, Beşiktaş has shown an interest in the Turkish center forward from Porto. Sheldrup has been considered as an alternative option for Bologna to replace Dan Ndoye. Samo Ageoa, who we saw with Porto in the Club World Cup, who likes to go down very, very easily, by the way. And he is a hulking mass of humanity, Samu is.
I know.
But basically, you sit there and you go like that, and he falls like the worst house of cards and dominoes ever. Aston Villa apparently is interested in him from Porto. Kerem Aktürkoğlu, swap deal possible that it could include Zaniolo and Aktürkoğlu with Benfica and Galatasaray.
There's an issue there with Aktürkoğlu and the coach. He's a fiery guy. He's a fiery guy, and this is not the first time that he's been in a conflict with Bruno Lage. So if I'm Benfica, I will swap that guy in a heartbeat, man. I don't want any troubles in my locker room.
And could be Fenerbahce, could be Galatasaray. Marco Asensio, Benfica has reportedly expressed interest in Marco Asensio, identifying him as their main offensive target from PSG. Schulman has been linked to Manchester United and Juve. Manchester United apparently have made a £35 million bid, according to the 3-letter paper, to Schulman.
It's Schulman. It's Schulman.
Schulman. Okay.
Schulman.
It's my Scandinavian ancestry. I dip a little bit deeper than that. Benfica and Union Saint-Gilloise reportedly have apparently reached an agreement yesterday for the transfer of Franjo Ivanovic. Jota Silva possibly from Nottingham Forest to Sporting. Joao Felix to Benfica. What in the wide world of sports is going on when you've got a Portuguese Super Cup where Benfica is a slight favorite going in? Obviously, this is at 3:45 Eastern, 2:45 your time. Sporting's missing folks. They need folks. Benfica's favored. What in the hell is going on in Portugal?
There's a lot going on in the League of Portugal. And by the way, we are 1 week away from the kickoff next Friday. At 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Nino Torres kicking off the season with the reigning champions, Casa Pia versus Sporting Club. kicking off the show. I can't wait, man. I can't. I've been this July has been so dry for me. I'm like, I might be going in and going, can I call 5 games today? Yes, you can. You're fine. You can go ahead and call 5 games today. And so today is just a super toss up of Portugal, the 2 Lisbon Giants. And I'm so interested among all the names that you mentioned. Lots of them are rumors because we've been talking about the movement from Human to Manchester United for like, I don't know, 6 weeks or 8 weeks. I don't know. And so if the ball is coming, that'll be phenomenal for the league. It'll be phenomenal. But I'm interested in one guy. I want to see if this guy can deliver for Sporting. All right. And that's Lucho Suarez. It's a new Lucho in town. It's not the Lucho Suarez that my Lucho Suarez. Oh, my God, I love that guy, Luchito Suarez. Now you got to see him there, right? Do you see him live? Lucho Suarez is Johnny. No, no, you haven't seen him.
I have not yet. No, I have not.
It's fantastic. But
what am I missing out on, brother? What am I
missing out? You're missing out, but right now his legs are worn out right now. But for me, he is the best number 9 of the past decade. Best number 9 over everyone else. But back to Lucho Suarez. This is a different Lucho Suarez.
Yes.
This is a Colombian Lucho Suarez.
Okay.
All right. Who came from Almeria, scored 31 goals last season for Almeria in the second division in Spain. And now he's with Sporting, having to fill out some big shoes of Victor Gyökeres, man.
Mm-hmm.
And but I got Colombians, they don't care. They got this swagger, man. They just got in there, dancing some I don't know, some bachata or whatever with their coffee in their hands, and they play, and they just play. Right, you can ask that to the different Lucho who went from Liverpool to Bayern Munich. That was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
That was surprising. They got a lot to do with that. Him not showing up for the funerals, man, of Diogo Jota. I mean, that was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you're not part. You gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go.
What Piero Rodriguez? Cordoba tried to scam Universitario.
What? Who's Cordoba? What's Cordoba?
Our Piero Rodriguez, apparently he was watching on the YouTubes. He's saying Cordoba tried to scam Universitario. We need more details, Piero. We need more details.
Oh yeah. We need more details. We're not talking to Piero after we. I'm talking to Piero right after you guys. So
okay.
I told you gotta watch us. You gotta watch us and Soccer Down Here. So I'm gonna jump on your channel. But like, what are you talking about, Pierito? Cordoba tried to scam Universitario. Who's Cordoba?
Yeah, we need the deets, Pierito. That's what we need. Yeah. We need the deets, as the kids say. Before you go, you got one more thing. Ronaldo Nazario as Santa Claus for Inter.
That is a massive story, man. This is a massive story for Ronaldo Nazario, right? So 1997, right? Christmas time in Syria. It was Javier Zanetti, Zamorano, Ivan Ramiro Córdoba, lots of South Americans on that Inter squad. So they were playing in Syria on a Saturday night. It was the 22nd of December. Everybody trying to leave. Everybody trying to leave to get to South America on time for the holidays, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was worried. Hey, what are we gonna do, man? What are we gonna do? Game is at 8 p.m. We're gonna leave the stadium at 10, but we're not gonna make it. And Ronaldo was like, "What's going on, guys? Oh man, the airplane. We have the tickets. We can book the tickets because they got the closest one is leaves at 11 p.m. and we finish the game at 10. By the time we're not gonna get there in time." And Ronnie was like, "It's okay, guys. I got you." What? What are you talking about? Yeah, just get the tickets. I'll take care of it. All right. They play the game, leave the stadium. at 10:30, they got to drive to the airport, right, in Milano. Drive to the airport. They got there like by 12 midnight. The airplane's supposed to leave at 10:30, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? They arrived to the airport, and the airplane was waiting for them. Waiting for them. They got the airplane waiting for their squad, for Ronaldo Nazario's squad, to go to Brazil and arrive to the holidays on time.
Nice.
Ronaldo Nazario stopped a plane for 2 hours so they could get there with his buddies on time for Christmas. How about that? That's star power, brother. That's star power.
That is. And so with a story like that, I have to find the appropriate drop to wrap this up. So hang on. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. This is the appropriate drop.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Our buddy Paul Harvey.
Nice.
So, all right. So how busy are you this weekend, sir?
We're getting busy finally. Finally, man. We got starting tonight. We got when you start a Porto's game tonight. Then we got the Liga Uruguay de Clausura. No, de Apertura. De Clausura.
Clausura.
I'm going with Nacional and Montego Territorio. We got Liverpool, Danube on Sunday. We got a Monday game. Got Sport Boys versus ATLUTD de Terma. And then next Friday, Liga Portugal starts. Casa Pia versus Sporting Club.
And Sporting right now is a minus 303 in the composite. Casa Pia at home is a tick under plus 800. Considering what you told us earlier in the segment, please be safe and do your journalistic duties, balance them with the duties of being a fan and loving the game as you do. But please be safe, sir, and keep us posted on everything that's going on down there. And just know that we all love you very much and cannot wait to have you back to continue telling stories and getting us ready for the Liga Portugal and all of the joints in between. Love you very much, my friend. Just be safe, and we will catch up with you again next week. As always, we are blessed to be fully loaded Thursday mornings.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
All right. Now Nino's going to go enjoy his coffee. He's going to enjoy his scarf. He's going to go kick the heels up. He's going to plot tomorrow and all of the importance that is there for that. Massive stuff down. And it's always great to tour the planet with our buddy Nino and find out what's going on. Because let's see, we went to Portugal. We went to Peru. We did South America. We did Ronaldo Nazario. We went to Hong Kong. All this in like one segment with our buddy Nino Torres at GOLTV. You can get GOLTV with our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps us out, helps them out, helps you out to continue to add to your complete and total degenerative nature when it comes to the sport of soccer and what else you can enjoy. It was wild. Yesterday, GOLTV was actually on in the press box at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We were watching the tail end of the Intermedio. They were running reruns yesterday. And so they were running the extra time from the Intermedio final, and we got to see that yesterday in the press box while we were waiting for Leagues Cup. But no, every time. See, now I can't say the word without saying it as Nino says it now. So I literally, it's like Apertura, Clausura, and then Intermedio. You know, he kind of sounds like Gru from Despicable Me when he gets into it. Intermedio. You know, you have the Apertura and the Clausura. Okay, little ones. You know, then we have the Intermedio. And we say this lovingly, of course. But yeah, I cannot think of the word Intermedio now any differently than how he says it. It is always going to be locked in that way. But yeah, it's a big day. It is a big day off the field for Peruvian soccer tomorrow. So set your notifications. Kind of keep an eye out on everything. Pray it doesn't get out of hand, and that the right decisions are made, and that it is a celebration in the streets and not the opposite if things go sideways. So that is why we always send nothing but the best love and vibes in situations like this, because we know what it means into communities when it comes to various sports and various clubs. And just as stewards of the game and as fans of the game, we always want the game and the fans to win out in situations like this. And so what Nino tells us on days like today, it's important. So in your day-to-day tomorrow, just kind of keep an ear out for what's going on. Maybe follow Nino on the Twitters, on the 280 character app, and just kind of follow along. I'm hoping that it's just a day of calm, and that everything's cool, everything is collected, everything is fine, and that you go and you speak your piece, and then that's it. So that's basically it. That's all I want for tomorrow. Is that I want the fans in Peru to say their piece, be there on the steps when the decision is made, and that it be the right decision for the benefit of the sport and for the benefit of the fans that make that journey tomorrow. In the street, like Nino said, it's going to be in the streets. These kinds of things are in the streets. So just keep your ear peeled a little bit, have your notifications set, check social media every once in a while, and just kind of keep an ear on what's going on with that. Tomorrow, we do have our guests lined up from Major League Soccer. Niko Moreno joining us in a couple of minutes. Gio Savadese joining us at 10 o'clock. And the executive director of the Leagues Cup joining us at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Tom Mayo. And so we'll be drifting in and out of conversations all morning, getting you ready for the weekend. But Gio's going to join us at 10. We'll find out what he thinks about Leagues Cup, find out what he thinks about Major League Soccer to this point of the season. And then the executive director of the Leagues Cup, Tom Mayo, joining us. He was supposed to join us yesterday, but there's that whole thing about meetings and being an executive in charge of things got in the way. So Gio Savadese at 10 tomorrow, Tom Mayo at 11 tomorrow. And then, yes, obviously we're going into extra time tomorrow and probably added extra time. So 11:20, 11:25, and then we've got a jet because we've got the conference call with Jose Silva. And I believe Nick Sessick they're getting ready for Atlanta United 2 and Messi and Friends 2. And that's happening tomorrow after we go off the air. Another thing that happened this morning, and this comes from a couple of different sources. We might have to start the story now, get back to it after we say goodbye to Nico. From L'Equipe, translated. Team info, unable to cancel the transfer made by John Textor, and we still have yet to hear from Textor, him or anything. Lyon's management has decided to purchase Matt Turner. He will be immediately loaned with a purchase option to New England Revolution to save on his salary. There's more to this. We'll get to it coming up in a bit. Last half hour. And we got stuff to talk about. And he's in his new studio space. He's styling and profiling on like Washington Sports Weekly. He's kicking back with I think it was Aaron Majowski on Q13. But we got to find out about the visit. We got to find out about the TV. We got to find out about some folks that he dropped info bombs about on the show kind of last week, and then he said more in Seattle. Check out the studio space of our buddy Niko Moreno. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's going on? How am I coming on?
Crystal clear and awesome. How about that?
Love it, my friend. Just making sure. I had some technical difficulties, but I'm here. Second cup of coffee. We are ready to go. I should have closed those blinds.
Well, you
but
want to close them? You can.
Yeah, can you take me off real quick? And I will go ahead and.
No, we're going to see you close the blinds. We ain't taking.
All right, hold on.
Just go. Doesn't matter to us. See, now this is the thing. Okay, so there we go. See, he's gradually getting the studio squared away. He's closed the blinds. Okay, the glare has disappeared. The glare is gone. That's good.
Sorry about that there, boss. That is not what I wanted to do.
No, it's all the glare has disappeared. The studio space is taking shape for Niko Moreno. That's what matters.
Yeah, still trying to get used to it. You could definitely see that.
It's all good. Glad that you're creating the home away from home. So after our segment last week, You go on, was it Washington Sports Weekly? Is that is WSW? Is that it?
Yes, Washington Sports Rep
Right.
on Fox 13.
Got it. So was that Aaron that was with you on Q13, or who was that with you?
No, that is Alicia. Alicia Smith. She just got married,
Okay.
but she is fantastic. She's the main host of Washington Sports Rap. Her and Aaron Levine, and they bring me on. Especially after the Club World Cup, we've been doing a lot more things together. And yeah, we had a nice little talk about some information that kind of came my way. And a lot of it was tied up to the Atlanta game. So it kind of fell right to bring it on that day.
All right. So since you mentioned PDLV and you mentioned the full length version of that, you mentioned Pedro de la Vega, one of two teams interested in possibly acquiring said individual was Atlanta United, and understandably so, that there would be kicking of tires considering past relationships with the two franchises and such. Any updates one way or the other? Is interest still there? Are folks still in the lot looking at the car, kicking tires? What's going on?
Yes, look, interest still there, and I know that there's been a lot of media members from Atlanta that have basically said it's not a thing. But obviously, I get information that is more than reliable, and I know that is difficult to fathom because clearly Pedro La Vega being a DP makes it a intricate move, but it doesn't make it impossible. There's a lot of ways that Atlanta can move one of the DPs. I had heard there was interest for Alex Murchuk as much as to move him from Atlanta. There's interest on the player. He's been playing lights out ever since that Pedro La Vega thing that we kind of talked about. Obviously, the 2-2 draw shot, and then him getting on the scoreboard here on Leagues Cup as well. But there's just a lot of ways that Seattle could make room for Pedro La Vega. And look, we talked to Felipe Cardenas, and him. Both him and I agreed on there's a huge glaring need for Atlanta United to get a winger. That is something that right now the team offensively, all the width usually over the last couple of seasons has come from the fullback, the wingbacks. Sometimes it's been Sabatine playing that wingback position. It's Amador. Sometimes it's Bruno Hernandez, which is not what you necessarily want as Atlanta United. Obviously, Amaron is more of a pocket winger, and he comes into those inside channels. So there is a need for a true winger in Atlanta. And knowing that Chris Henderson had scouted and understood and knew about Pedro de la Vega, and at the time because the inquiries for Pedro de la Vega started before the Club World Cup. That was a time where Pedro kind of felt like a surplus here in the Sounders. He wasn't getting a lot of play time. He doesn't even start all the games in Club World Cup. So Chris Henderson, being the astute and brilliant GM that he is, he probably thought that he could get Pedro de la Vega on the low, on the cheap, on a discount. And that's why those whole things kind of came about. But we'll see where it goes. Obviously, Pedro has continued to do very well ever since that time as well. I still feel like in Brian Smetzer's eyes, I don't know if he's undependable, and he just needs to have him on the field at all times. So does that lead to some movement thereafter? It could be a possibility. I think he should stay in Seattle. I think that Seattle should keep him. Seattle at this time doesn't have a real game breaker, and that's what Pedro de la Vega is. In form, Pedro de la Vega is a true game breaker, a guy that's going to break a scheme, a guy that's going to put the team on his back, a guy that's going to be excited, that's going to put butts in seats. That banger he had against San Jose had Lumen exploding in a way that I haven't seen or heard in a very long time. So those are the things that Pedro provides, and I don't know if Seattle can afford to lose him, to be quite frank.
Right now, Pedro de la Vega under contract through 27 with an option year of 28. And the numbers of GAM, and this is at the end of February, early March. GAM on the table, Seattle going into, and this is taking out tinkering and things like that in between the end of February and now. Heading into March, had just over $1,100,000 available in GAM. There have been a couple of deals that Chris Henderson has made where he has acquired some GAM to help things out, where you can buy down players in situations like that. But both clubs, Atlanta and Seattle, are on the 3-3 model, where your DPs and your U22s are 3-3s. And Atlanta United right now has open U22 slots. The only U22 slot that had been used was Edwin Mosqueda, who is now down at Millonarios. So your U22 slots are wide open for you to pull any kind of a deal. I think Leo Afonso may end up going into that U22, one of those U22 slots, after having been picked up by Messi and friends to add to that. For Seattle, like I said, and I'm just staring at the numbers that came out at the beginning of March. PDV, a designated player, and Seattle doesn't have any U22s on the books right now either. So they can opt to go 2 and 4 if they want to, because of everything that comes up through Tacoma. It would be an interesting roster construction for Seattle if Pedro de la Vega ends up going somewhere, because then you have that option of going 2 and 4, or you can stay at 3 and 3 and figure out how you want to do things financially.
Yeah, and I think that's it's all on the table for Seattle if that was to be the case, right? They have clearly are very close to bringing Noah Ohio, obviously a U22 striker that would take one of those spots. The clear and obvious move with Obed Vargas is that he's going to get a contract extension and he's going to take one of those U22 spots. That will still leave you with 1 or 2. I have been more than vocal, and I've reported multiple times that Seattle at this time is not a team looking for or to spend a lot on players. So going out there and getting another DP, if let's say Pedro was to go, I don't necessarily know how liable or how how feasible that really is right now. So maybe the 4 U22s would be interesting if they go for another U22. But obviously, we're just speculating here. I'm not saying that's what's going on. But to your point, yes, considering the way the Seattle has been trending in the market and looking for more deals and not necessarily going out there to spend a bunch of money, something like that could definitely be a possibility.
Supplementals right now for Seattle: Cody Baker under contract through 26, 2 option years after that. Reed Baker Whiting, the last year of his homegrown deal.
Yes.
Jacob Castro has a contract through this year with an option for next. Stuart Hawkins through 26, options for 27 and 28. Paul Rothrock is at the end of his deal at the end of this season. Trevian Sosa through this year with 2 more options after that. And then you mentioned Obed Vargas, contract through 25, heading to 26. So there are some decisions to be made when it comes to those homegrowns and where they could slot in the future.
Absolutely. And look, Reed Baker Whiting is one that you're still trying to figure out who he is, what he could provide. There's been a ton of interest in the player in the past from Eredivisie teams. There's been interest from him from German teams, but he's had a hard time staying healthy and taking the workload, even as late as just recently with all of the controversy that surrounded Nuhu. You kind of thought that Reed maybe was going to make it difficult for Nuhu to get his spot back. But against Atlanta, he doesn't have a great game. He kind of is the main reason why that first goal happens. He doesn't get the right bounce. He allows I don't know if it was Almiron or one of the Atlanta players to get on the ball and cross that, and that's what leads to the Lafilat cross that Yamar hits with that own goal. So some of those things that Reed hasn't been able to do to solidify his position are still to be seen. So you're gonna have to figure out: do you want to extend him? Do you want to just let him go for free? I don't see Seattle doing that sort of business. Yeah. So I'm guessing that they will. So how do you do that? What is that worth? There's a lot of moves that Seattle needs to be pending for the future. I would even say Yemer Gomez Andrade, that I believe he has an option for next year. Players don't like options, so he's going to want to get a contract extension. So there's a whole bunch of things that kind of go in line for Seattle. This year is a big year to try to figure out. Obviously, your DP spots at the moment are locked in for a long time. And same thing goes for Ferreira. That is a deal that has some underlying numbers that are possibly you're gonna need to figure out, and because I'm sure that he's gonna at some point be a DP or structured in that route. So there's just a lot of things that Craig Weibel has been doing. And look, you got to give him credit for all the heat that Craig Weibel and this, scouting has taken because of what people want, or, the non-believers of the Ferreira deal and all of these things. They're fourth in the West. And look, if they don't drop points against Charlotte, if they don't drop points against Colorado just recently, if they don't drop points at Atlanta with 2 minutes left, when you scored that goal by Osase, Seattle is, if not number one, they're close to the top of the West. So I think that the roster has held up. I think that the depth has definitely come out to reflect that is a talented group. I mean, this team has had no Jordan Morris for a long time, no Yema for quite some time, no Kim. I mean, there's been a whole bunch of injuries, and yet the team is where they're at. I'm not saying he's been brilliant. I'm not saying he's been consistent. They've had ups and downs this season, but the proof is in the pudding. Fourth place is pretty good for the Western Conference.
Yeah, John Bell, Stephen Fry out of deals, no option years after this. Yamar is on a TAM deal, contract through this year with an option. Same for Kim Ki-hee, a normal contract ending this year, option for 26. Same for Danny Musovsky, same for Nuhu, same for Joao Paulo. So there are some roster decisions that have to be made. And for those interested, Pedro Del Vega, according to the MLSPA, is making a very, very manageable $1 million base, guaranteed comp 1.379. So that's a navigable number for a lot of folks, and we'll see what it looks like with PDV and any future when it comes to his address. We got to talk Leagues Cup, and you are probably going to have a late night. Cruz Azul, the top seed overall, coming to town, and it's at Lumen, 7:30 your time, 7:40 kick. What has the vibe been like getting ready for Leagues Cup, and what has the response been to Leagues Cup in general from what you have been able to gather so far here in this tournament?
In Seattle, specifically?
Well, so we'll start there, and then we'll go bigger picture.
Yeah, look, in Seattle, there are mixed feelings. Obviously, a lot of the fan base kind of sees this as that money grab, and that it's just a show and all these things.
Name a country that doesn't have a money grab.
Or a tournament that doesn't necessarily reflect money. I mean, that's just what the tournaments are about. So, there is a fan base that would rather the team focus on the domestic league. But there are the other part, and I'm included in that one, that feel like an international tournament is always important. There's obviously a lot of money to be had. 100,000 per game, 50 per win, the bonuses as you move forward in the knockout stage. All of those things are important, not to mention the fact that you are continue to be a team that is elite at the global stage. And yes, I know it's just Mexico and the United States, but those are the two biggest leagues in the northern in CONCACAF in general. And so therefore you should be able to get out there and be competitive. So I've been really excited. I've loved the games. I've watched more Leagues Cup than I thought I could. There's been thrillers. There's been great goals. There's been a competitiveness. Messi yesterday chirping. All of it has just been fantastic for me. I think that more of this helps the league in many ways. Competitiveness, in creating stories and narratives, which is huge, is important for any league. So I've enjoyed it, and I think that a lot of the fan base slowly and gradually has begun to really be encouraged by what they're seeing on the field.
Yeah, and you got to get used to the changes in the format, and where it is now top 4 in MLS and top 4 in Liga MX are advancing. So basically what you've got to do, you've got to win big, and you got to make sure that you're winning bigger than everybody else around you, just so you can be in the top 4 to advance. I mean, we've seen LAFC and Mazatlan go 12 frames. Denny Bouanga makes in the top of the first, misses in the top of the 12th, and LAFC doesn't get the extra point. And so you now have Diego Rossi, who apparently couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a bass fiddle. when it comes to PKs. And it was a rough night for Columbus from the spot. So lessons learned, I guess. Diego Rossi isn't supposed to take PKs anymore under any circumstance. Denny Bouanga, you only use him once. And right now, you got a lot of MLS teams that are starting their match days in phase one tonight, the final six matchups tonight, the final 12 teams, where you're having to root for Liga MX's teams to take out the whooping stick to make sure that you have an opportunity to climb so you can be in that final four.
Yeah, and look, LAFC's problems were just not putting the ball in the back of the net as well. I still don't understand why they let go of Javiro when there's no other real option. I'm sure they're working on a whole bunch of things that you've heard, but it's about the now as well. I thought he's a player that could provide a lot of things. As you mentioned, Columbus, I mean, that was a fun game, entertaining. They should have won that game, but they were unable to do it. I thought that RSL should have won yesterday as well against Club America at the 90 minutes, but they just weren't able to put that last goal, even though they had it right in front, an inch away. One toe gets that ball in, and they don't. And then they go to PKs. Luckily for RSL, they're able to. Get that win at least on the PKs. But yeah, no, I think it's been interesting. San Diego was a disaster. Dreyer loses his mind and tries to kick a player, and then almost headbutts. I mean, it was just a bad game for San Diego. Defensively, they were as poor as I've seen them, to be quite frank. Yes, they got Del Pachuca, which is difficult. Then they got Tigres. That's a tough draw, but I expected more for San Diego. Minnesota was the one team that was able to put it on San Luis, and they were able to really get a solid win, solid score. Same thing goes for Portland, that just dominated their game. So it was kind of a little bit of learning lessons for MLS in general, as you mentioned, and obviously Miami. Yesterday they were fun to watch, right? I mean, Atlas is a great team. Gonzalo Pineda, someone that you guys know well, always puts together a good quality team. Camilo Vargas was sensational on goal, but still, Lionel Messi and Suarez and the Barca boys were able to get it through. I still think that team is very Messi dependent. Rodrigo De Paul had a decent game, but at the same time, and I think I like to see this competitive side of Messi when it comes to this particular tournament. He just brings it against the Mexican teams.
Yeah, you mentioned the El Motorcito, the Motorcito madman, Rodrigo De Paul coming in. Hey, look, let's just go ahead. I mentioned this a lot. Let's just go ahead and do the fourth DP. I mean, look, you got Rodrigo De Paul coming in. He's a TAM player this year. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? How'd you do? Yeah, and then statistically, he'll be a DP next year. Look, Messi and friends still can't play defense for a lick. I'm sorry.
No, they can't.
It literally is like take the over with any kind of a matchup involving Messi and friends, and I think they thrive in this kind of chaos where it's a team that's used to international competition, whether it's team or country, and they know what they're getting into. So if they just dial it up to 11, then it's like, okay, try and catch us. And you saw what Rodrigo De Paul brings to the table. You see what Lionel Messi does when it's an international or a hemispheric competition. It's like that little added extra little bit of that comes into a situation like this.
Yeah, and that's not going to help. That's not going to work every single time. And that's what you and I have been talking about. And look, maybe they have a great Leagues Cup, which I've always said it's a lot easier to have a great Leagues Cup than it is to have a great playoff run in MLS or in any other league. So this does kind of play to their strengths. But there are going to be teams that are not going to be so open, that are not going to allow you. Look, for as much as Atlas does, right? Yesterday, they were so flat. They weren't staggered. They were letting Lionel Messi I don't know how the best player in the planet in the GOAT per se is just coming into the 18 unmarked. If anything, that's the guy you want to watch. I mean, if it is because you're at awe that you're playing against him or not, I mean, how is he getting so open? And then obviously he's a quick pass. Come on.
Well, here's the thought. How about this? We see in college football a lot of times where if you're going up against a team that goes spread, you play zone and let everything happen in front of you so nothing happens behind you. So I'm thinking that maybe Atlas was playing a little bit of zone defense to sit there, and it's like, all right, look, keep everything in front of you. Don't get burned behind so you can see everything happen and see everything coming at you. That's the only thing I can figure in a situation like this, where either you lay back and let everything happen, or you get in Messi's face and you make sure that he doesn't have any chance to breathe anytime he gets the ball. I think the latter is more effective. But maybe yesterday it was just one of those where it's like, all right, lay back. We'll save some energy for transition and heading back the other way. But this way, we're not beat behind us because of the speed that can be there and the artistry that's in front of us. That way, it happens in front of us and we don't get burned, I'm guessing.
I'll buy that. I think it is a little bit of prevent defense, if you will. You're giving a guy too much cushion, you give him too much space, trying to just contain them, right? And they were just unable to do so at the very end because, a couple of through balls by Sergio Busquets, him and Luis Suarez.
Yeah, I've heard of them. It went sideways. It went sideways on us? Turn. Wow, that was unique. The device went sideways. I have never seen that before. So we were on a roll. We were on a roll talking about prevent defense and laying back and all these kinds of things. So tell you what, let me do this. Let me duck out. And when Niko gets everything all squared away, we'll come back. But I do want to talk about some of the other things going on. So after we're done with Niko, I do have a couple of headlines that I need to get into. I need to get into Lucas Paquetá. I need to get into Matt Turner a little more in depth. And there's some stuff with Matt Turner and Texter and Lyon and all the things, and it's weird. It is just weird. I will say that it is just flat out weird. Doesn't surprise me, but like I said, we have sent a message to John Texter. We have sent a message to John Texter via the Insta, the IG, or the Gram, whatever the kids say. And we are still waiting, by the way. We are still waiting. And the note that we sent, we are still waiting for the response from John Texter to see if, in fact, he will join us on the show to discuss things. So we will see what it looks like with John Texter. Hang on just a second. So let me see what it looks like. So I told you about the note that we sent, and it was how many days ago? 5 days ago, where I sent an attachment and I also sent the WhatsApp message with my personal phone number. So we're 5 days in, and we have not seen anything from John Texter involving anything about any kind of a response anywhere, any place, anytime on any of it. So nothing. We are day 5 of Texter Watch involving everything with John Texter. So we've heard nothing from him, and so we are waiting. To that effect, from SoFoot, a compilation of sources in France having to do with Matt Turner. So here's, and this is translated. So here's what SoFoot said. SoFoot said this. No, I don't want that particular thing. So I need to X out and savoir plus. I don't need that. So ignore the video. Thank you. All right. So skip ad. All right. Lyon to buy new keeper to loan to MLS. And this was at 8:18 this morning local time. 8:18 this morning local time. From SoFoot. Lyon always pays for the Cowboys' choices. This is translated. At the end of June, John Texter booked a one-way ticket to Lyon Saint-Exupéry Airport. Due to this hasty departure, the former Lyon owner left some moldy files for his successor, Michel Kang. And apparently the paperwork surrounding Matt Turner's transfer was finally found deep in the office by the Roan board. When he was still in charge of Lyon, Textor had agreed to the arrival of Nottingham goalkeeper Matt Turner for €8 million, with his close friend Evangelinas Marinakis, owner of the English club. Despite an attempt to retract, the new Olympique Lyon management, not at all attracted by the idea of signing a 31-year-old goalkeeper, will not be able to cancel this expensive transfer. According to information from L'Équipe published today, the Nottingham president wanted nothing to do, and Turner will sign a 3-year contract with Lyon in the coming days. To limit the financial impact of this incredible transfer, once again, this is SoFoot translated, the Lyon management, still economically fragile, decided to immediately loan the American goalkeeper to New England Revolution. The Boston club will even cover the entirety of his salary. That said, Lyon is still looking for its future starting goalkeeper. And also, Crystal Palace appealing to CAS. That is supposed to be heard in an expedited manner. We'll get into that in a second. So, information from L'Équipe. Yes, I accept. So, come on. There we go. Yes, I accept. And this is from L'Équipe this morning. Lyon forced to sign a player they don't want. Club didn't need that, as revealed by L'Équipe on the 23rd, basically 8 days ago. Lyon management had commissioned a lawyer to try to find an amicable agreement with Nottingham Forest to cancel the transfer of Matt Turner, approved several months ago by John Textor. The American had reached an agreement with his friend Evangelinas Marinakis on an excessive compensation of €8 million for a keeper of this level and age. But the Greek boss remained deaf to the mediation, and Olympique Lyon will resolve to welcome the player who will sign a 3-year contract. Lyon management, Michael Gerlinger and Mathieu Louis-Jean, quickly turned their attention to finding a solution to minimize the impact on the summer transfer window. A plan quickly emerged. Turner would not even be transferred to Lyon, but would instead be loaned for a year to the MLS franchise New England Revolution, where he would start to earn a spot in the United States national team for the 2026 World Cup in his home country. A non-binding purchase option is attached to the loan, while the American team would cover the goalkeeper's salary in full. So that is the rundown of that. Crystal Palace, once again, their appeal to CAS from our buddy Ben Jacobs. It is on an expedited timeline, and I believe it's in 2 weeks is when it's going to be heard. Lucas Paquetá has been cleared of spot fixing charges and found to be not proven, according to the FA Commission, not facing punishment for alleged breaches of the FA's betting rules after an independent regulatory commission found the charges against the West Ham midfielder could not be proven, denied all charges against him, facing a potential lifetime ban from football if found guilty. However, the regulatory commission found the most serious charges of spot fixing, quote, to be not proven. Following a hearing, it said in a statement released by the English FA on Thursday, Commission did find that 2 further rule breaches, effectively relating to Paquetá's cooperation with the FA's investigation, could be proven, and will decide an appropriate sanction, quote, for these breaches at the earliest opportunity, end quote. The 2 breaches of FA Rule F3 are in relation to the Brazilian's alleged failures to comply with his obligations to answer questions and provide information in the investigation. And then Paquetá posted to Instagram, Commission's ruling brings to an end a lengthy process starting in August of 23, has been beset by delays, charged with misconduct in May of 24. So that is the latest on Paquetá. Wrexham apparently are celebrating their return to the championship, and it is a sky blue and white stripes kit that has been released. Home jersey is out, away kit inspired. Ooh, I like that. It is hoops, basically, with United Airlines across the front. Red trim on the sleeves and on the collar with the manufacturer's logo and the Wrexham logo in red. So that's where the Wrexham kit is. So Nico is trying to work his way back in. So we'll find out what happened there. We will we'll finish up our conversation and our thoughts with Nico, go through some of the juice boxes tonight. And so the third kit is the Albiceleste stripes, but reconfigured as horizontal hoops, similar to those worn by Argentina's national rugby team known as Pumas. Jersey has a far more personal and heartwarming origin story. The 160th anniversary of the first Welsh settlers arriving in the Patagonia region of southern Argentina. A small band of Welsh natives boarded a boat, left their native land in 1865 to escape English oppression prevalent in the country at the time. Those 153 settlers formed Iwaladfa, the colony, in the Chubu Valley, and made it their mission to preserve the Welsh language, traditions, and culture, developing the valley through industry and agriculture. And we'll see if we can find out how technology betrayed a man. Coming in, we'll find out what's up. Are you okay?
I am not. It felt like, you know how in the Matrix you get hit with the EMT where like it takes down all the defenses and stuff. That's what happened to my phone. I don't know what happened. It all just reset it completely.
Wow.
Couldn't get back on. I don't know if it overheated, if you need more coins or you need some antifreeze. I don't know what happened to the,
that was
to the
crazy.
system.
No, but basically it was just trying to figure out what is going on with Inter Miami. Did it look like Gonzalo Pineda was playing bit of a prevent defense or what, and getting to 90+6 before Chelo Wegan got the winner?
Yeah, and quite honestly, again, we're talking about an Atlas team that they're a good team, and we're always going to respect the Gonzalo Pineda team, but they're also not the top of Liga MX. They're a quality squad. And defensively, I do think that maybe there was a little bit too much respect. I've always said that the best way to attack and approach Lionel Messi and the times that you see him struggle and you see Inter Miami struggle is when you smother him, where you knock him, hit him, don't allow him to get in a rhythm. And same goes for Sergio Busquets and all those guys. As long as you kind of take away the circuits that connect all the players together, that's where you're going to have the best chance to beat Inter Miami. And I don't think Atlas went that route. I think that they were a bit too conservative with their style of play.
All right, let's go through juice boxes in Leagues Cup, and then we'll get you out of here, and so you can put more coins in the phone. Monterrey and Cincinnati tonight. Monterrey slight favorite at a +145. Yes, obviously it is not played in Monterrey, but it is obviously on the road against Cincinnati at TQL. Cincinnati is the away side for identification purposes, but they're still a bit of an underdog at a +161. Charlotte, even money tonight, hosting Juarez at a +100. Juarez is a +231. Draws a +259. Chivas and Red Bulls. Chivas is a slight favorite. This one's at in Harrison, New Jersey. And Red Bulls are a +169, draws a +239. Rapids and Santos Laguna. Rapids home team -189, Santos Laguna north of +400. Your matchup, Cruz Azul at Lumen, the home team for purposes of identification. Cruz Azul +119, Sounders a +196, and the draw is a +252. What say you?
Look, the best game here is the Monterrey Cincinnati. I mean, I want to watch that game. I want to enjoy that game. If you have to go Campos for that, I would love it. But I do think that this is one where, despite Monterrey being the team with the bigger transfer market value, if you will, having all of these very good players. Bertamara has been fantastic. I love Canales. They're a team that defensively is very good with Medina in the back. I mean, I think that Monterrey is clearly one of the better teams in CONCACAF. I like Cincinnati. I really do. In this one, I feel like Cincinnati can pull off the win. I think that is going to be very open. I think set pieces are going to be very valuable in this one particularly. But to me, Evander is really having a phenomenal season, going after some of the fluctuations of this League's Cup. I feel like my gut tells me that Cincinnati is going to have one of those games where everything goes their way. I really do like Monterrey, and I like the 3.5 at the very least in this one.
Okay, so let's check 3.5 for Monterrey and Cincinnati in the over and unders. And LAG is actually favored on the plus side, hosting Xolos tonight as your late game. 3.5 is a plus 154.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I kind of get that. Xolos is, aside from Gilberto Mora, which is going to take all of the press for any, other Xolo player, and that's what you're gonna be focused on. They're not a very good team. They struggle offensively. They struggle in possession. They're pretty wide open. So I actually like the Galaxy. I wouldn't necessarily take them as a favorite because it's not gonna go far on my money. But I
Right.
think LAG is gonna be a team that that probably wins that game.
Yeah, plus 102, and Xolos are a plus 202. But yeah, plus 3.5 Monterrey in Cincinnati. That is on the board at plus 154. Hit the promo for me and let everybody know what's going on.
Yes, of course, you could follow me at El Rolo NW. We're going to be tonight at the game. We're going to give you all of the interviews. I'm going to try to be more on the Cruz Azul side because obviously it's going to be mixed zone. So I do want to get some Spanish there. But my guess is that tonight is going to be a draw. I think that is going to go to PKs. It is anybody's game after that. I think that Kevin Mier is a fantastic keeper. So him and Andrew Thomas, who is very athletic, very good at PKs, it's gonna be fun to watch. But I do like the draw tonight for Seattle. But I'll be out there making sure that we get all of that, the storylines and how everything plays out. So go ahead and check that out. Of course, on Friday we're gonna have what we learned this week with Jeremiah Shan. We'll break down the Cruz Azul game, but we're also going to go into Ballard FC that is in the national finals. So we're going to talk to James Riley, coach of Ballard FC, and we're going to talk to him about this important game and what it means to him to get there. Another opportunity for Ballard to make a mark. So that's going to be interesting. Check that out on Friday. And of course, Monday, we're going to be at Live Scorchers Kickoff with Ari Lillenwall.
And it's going to be a fun time. Plus 252 on the draw, by the way, for the matchup.
I like that.
Seattle. Ballard and Vermont Green, USL League 2 title. Ballard in the last game of the year. What a shock, but they are going into a very hostile environment with Vermont Green. Great story with them up there as well. And there's a lot to Vermont Green to look into, but Ballard making it to the last game of the year in USL League 2. Love it. As always, my friend, love you very much. Put some more coins in the jukebox and make sure that phone's working, or throw it some rice, throw it into a bucket of rice. And we'll catch back up with you. Love what you're doing with the studio space, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
I got you, my guy. Maybe he's in Miami. Every time we talk about Inter Miami, my phone goes crazy. So I don't know what's going on, man. Leo's got me bugged, man. I got somewhere over here.
Mascherano, the battle between Mascherano and Gonzalo Pineda on the touchline last night. That was creeping into our conversations. Gonzalo going full heel, dressed all in black last night. Very cool. Be safe, my friend. Enjoy your coffee.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
There he goes, Niko Moreno, Pulso Sports. He's going to go put his console back in rice and make sure that it cools off. But no, I was glad to catch back up with Niko as we go. Sorry about the surge and power at the moment. Yes, Abby, definitely. It's messy and friends. And Cruz Azul, if you're keeping an eye on it, once again, Angel Sepulveda, you're looking at goals. You're looking at Carlos Rodriguez, Angel Marquez, and they're the only ones who have scored so far for Cruz Azul in the Apertura. Mati Bogish has registered an assist for them as well. So keeping an eye on Mati Bogish and everything that is going on with Cruz Azul. But yeah, they're a plus 152 tonight as a part of the Leagues Cup. Yeah, and there's somebody there who apparently was interested in coming back to Major League Soccer, but doesn't like Major League Soccer because he thinks it's okay for folks to lose. He thinks that players don't mind losing in Major League Soccer. But he wanted to come back here in this window because he ain't getting no reps with the Blue Cross. But yeah, Cruz Azul and Seattle tonight, Leagues Cup. One of 6 matches that will end our match day 1 for phase 1 in Leagues Cup. Reminder once again, tomorrow, Gio Savadese joining us at 10. Executive Director of Leagues Cup, Tom Mayo, joining us at 11. So we're going to be supersized tomorrow to about 11:20, 11:25, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. Also, remember that you'll end up with Best of SDH AM, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. That will be out in the podcast section at Off the Woodwork on Saturday morning. So that's going to be fun as well. And we'll catch up with things. We got the twos on Sunday. We've got Atlanta United at the Purple Barn on Saturdays, the back end of a doubleheader. 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock in Central Florida in early August. Maddie and Abe, we're going to have your pregame show around 8 o'clock. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it again tomorrow. International rumors and stuff before we get out of here today. And thank you for allowing my forbearance and us going long this morning because, frankly, there's a lot to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's first catch up with our buddy Ben Jacobs and see what Ben has on his tour. Johan Vissa wants to join Newcastle, and a third offer is not ruled out. Newcastle has already bid 25 and 30 plus 5. All of these are in pounds unless I tell you different. Vissa did not train today despite reports doing solo work only this week. He is still pushing to leave Brentford, not at the team's preseason camp in Portugal. Dan Ndoye, we talked about him yesterday. Forrest confirmed that he joined from Bologna on a 5-year deal. Chelsea are still pushing to sign Garnacho. Keen on a move. Manchester United won at least 40. That's from Alex Crook and Ben Jacobs. We mentioned Lucas Paquetá. What's going on there? Spurs have made an approach to Bayern to loan Joao Palhinha. Keen on a move back to the Premier League. Colorado completing a deal to sign Rob Holding from Crystal Palace. Passed his medical yesterday. Paperwork being completed. So you're adding him to the back line, hopefully in short order. Chelsea confirmed Kendry Páez has joined Strasbourg on a season-long loan. Signing on the women's side, Manchester United signed Swedish international midfielder Julia Zigiotti Olme from Bayern Munich on a 2+1. Let's see. Rasmus Højlund to Chris Wheeler from the four-letter paper on his Manchester United future. I think my plan is very clear. It's for me to stay and fight for my spot for whatever happens. Chelsea view Yordle Hato as a left-back first and foremost. They agree with former Ajax coach Francesco Farioli, who moved him from center back. Sheffield Wednesday confirmed Hendrik Pedersen as their new manager. I hope to God he's getting paid. Alexander Isak doing individual training at his former club Real Sociedad, accompanied by his own team of personal trainers. Newcastle say Isak is recovering from a minor thigh injury, asked not to travel to Asia as he awaits clarity on his future. Victor Osimhen has joined Galatasaray from Napoli for €75 million, €40 million up front, $35 million in 12 months. They also, meaning Napoli, retain a 10% sell-on. Osimhen can't be sold to a Serie A club for the next 2 seasons. And also, Leipzig are looking on Benjamin Sesko. They want a total package in excess of €80 million. And it is Newcastle and Manchester United valuing him closer to 70. Both clubs feel player buy-in will put them in a stronger position. Leipzig haven't lowered their price all summer. That was an issue for Arsenal pre-Victor Gyökeres. So you've got that going on. We'll see if there's anything going on in the world of Tom Bogert, anything domestically as we go forward here. Let's see. We mentioned the deal there. Steve Cherundolo confirmed Javido Del Rosan returning to Club America after the short-term loan expired. That goes to what we were discussing with Niko Moreno just a couple of minutes ago. And we mentioned Thomas Müller, and that is locked in. It was a conversation apparently with Bastian Schweinsteiger about MLS that kind of sold him on the transfer and moving over. Mathieu Choinière is on loan from Grasshopper Club Zurich to LAFC. The scream you heard and the stomping of the feet was from Jason. Let's see. Mentioned Yeon-min Son and the $15 million. Keep an eye on Ange Postecoglou possibly on the touchline. Nathaniel Brown confirms there's been contact with U.S. Soccer. The Germany U21 standout started for the U21 Euros final for Germany. He's a key player in the German youth national teams. So there could be some recruiting going on. So we'll see what happens there with that. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. We mentioned the rejecting of the transfer offer from San Diego from West Brom for Luca Bombino. They were looking for like $1.5 million. San Diego's like, bruh, that's not going to happen. RSL finalizing a deal to sign U.S. Youth National forward Marco Zambrano, left Philadelphia Union's academy for Benfica back in 23. Hugo Lloris missed the Leagues Cup match traveling back to France to get a green card. Same for Sergi Palencia, traveling back to Spain for the same reason. That way, that'll knock down international slots and make them more available for LAFC. Ryan Porteous near a deal to sign from Watford. Luca Bendoni before Tom Bogert. Porteous has 12 caps with Scotland coming over from Watford. FC Dallas and Tigres have agreed on a fee for Marco Farfan. Deal is close. Personal, not 100% done. Portland rejected a $4 million offer from Fluminense for Santi Moreno. Portland feel the offer is way below value, especially as America de Cali has a 20% sell-on. So essentially, it would be only $3.2 million to Portland, $800,000 to Flu. Timbers rejected offers of $5 million from 2 other MLS clubs this winter. Portland Moreno agreed in principle this year over a new contract starting in 26. We mentioned the Matt Turner stuff going on. Hoffenheim is interested in Brian Reynolds. Westerlo declined an initial loan approach. Talks ongoing between Hoffenheim and Westerlo. Reynolds wants a move. Anthony Marcanic, who scored last night, is in talks over a new deal with Minnesota United. Not close yet. Contract's up at the end of the year. One Belgian club has already offered up a pre-contract in January. Multiple MLS clubs will be interested, obviously, if he gets to free agency. They're looking for a resolution on the deal. Let's see. So we mentioned the chaos with Matt Turner. Good Lord. Yeah, way to go. So day 5, Texter Watch is still coming up goose eggs. Abby, thanks as always for hanging out. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out. Let me check and see if there's anything that I might have missed from anybody in the Twitch pitch from my pickup point. And then we will pack it in for yet another day, and we will go from there. But yeah, Wiley, remind me next Wednesday about asking about the idea with the all of the activity that's there and the idea of asking an official about a call. I don't think we have the same protocol that we do in Major League Soccer and the Professional Writers Association, but we can find out. Let's see. I think we're caught up. Thanks once again to everybody. Thanks to Lokeville for dropping in. Let's see. Thanks to Pierito for hanging out with us and dropping knowledge during Nino's segment. And I think that'll do it. Went the extra 22 minutes because we had stuff to talk about. Back at it again, less than 22 hours. Gio Savadese joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Executive Director of Leagues Cup Tom Mayo joining us at 11 o'clock. We're going to go supersize tomorrow to get you ready for the weekend. That is it for another go-round of SDH AM. Thanks, as always, for coming by and spending your time with us, as we know that it is incredibly valuable to start your days. Here, we try to give you as much information as possible to get your day moving. And then just know that once we sign off, other stories will break, and we'll talk about them all again tomorrow. Play it safe, everybody. Mucho Platiel. Since it's the end of the show, means we get to do this. Back at it again tomorrow, 9:05 Eastern.